Alright, what's up everyone? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Pokemon TCGO battle. And as promised, I've got another new deck for you here. This one's going to use the most hyped card out of Noble Victories, the latest dragon, Kyurem. He's got that huge 130 hit points and a spread damage attack. So I've tried out several decks using him, and this one also uses Vileplume for Trainer Lock to protect my Feraligatr from getting catchered up over and over again. Overall, I'm kind of disappointed with this deck. It's just, maybe I just haven't found a good list yet, but the decks I put together so far have really struggled to do enough damage quickly enough to stay competitive. So this one is a pretty good showcase of what the deck is capable of when it runs well, though. So I decided to put it up. And after a couple of live narrations, seems like you guys kind of like a mix of both. So that's probably what I'll plan to do. Some will be live and some will be pre-recorded. Obviously, this one's pre-recorded, so he mulligans the first turn. I see that he's got psychic stuff. It looks like it's one of those psychic theme decks, and that means I should have a pretty easy go of it, but this deck actually gives me a little bit of trouble because it applies a lot of status conditions, and that's kind of a problem for Kyurem since I can't switch out when I'm under trainer lock. So I have to lead Lone Oddish, which is not helpful, and I don't have a collector. Miraculously, I managed to top deck Pichu, so that's going to let me set up my bench right away. I use Pichu in this deck because this deck takes a ton of setup. You need to get 2 stage 2s plus Kyurem going, so it really benefits me to have my bench full on turn 1 and hopefully a Vileplume in play on turn 2. So here I get a rare candy. That's going to be one piece that I need in order to get Vileplume up, but I don't get a Pecom or any way to get Vileplume, so we're going to have to see what I draw next turn. If I get a Pecom or if I just draw into Vileplume, I will be able to set up my Vileplume by turn 2, which is really the ideal for this deck. You want it up as fast as possible because as soon as it's up, your Feraligatr is safe. You can then set up Feraligatr and Rain Dance all the energy you need onto your Kyurem. So you can see me down there. I'm going to browse through the bottom, look for any important cards that I'm missing from this deck. I didn't see any key ones prized this turn, so I should be okay. Unfortunately, the downside of Pichu is that he also gives your opponent the chance to set up, but that's somewhat mitigated in a Kyurem deck because Kyurem spreads damage to everything. So if their bench is full, you can drop a ton of damage. I think it's like 180 damage with one attack if they have a full bench. So you're not going to be hampered by that too much. I do wake up here, and that means I'll be able to retreat the next turn, assuming Pichu doesn't get knocked out this turn. I'll have to wait and see what he does. I had this match a couple days ago, but I've been playing a lot, so I kind of forget what happens. Alright, he puts another energy onto Zora, flips heads, so that's going to do 30 damage and knock out Pichu. And that's fine. I run twins in this deck because usually I'm leading with Pichu, and he dies really fast. So once they take out Pichu, I can play a twins and get into a rare candy and a Vileplume, but unfortunately I don't have any way to get into Vileplume this turn unless I draw it off of this N. We'll have to see what I pull. Professor Elm, some other stuff. I do get a twins. That means I'll be able to set Vileplume up next turn, and I can start attaching energy now, just so I can attack manually with this first Kyurem if I need to. As you can see, this deck is very slow, because you need to get Vileplume up first. If you evolve Feraligatr before you evolve Vileplume, it's going to get catchered up, and it's got that huge 3 retreat cost, so it's going to make you waste all your energy. So you have to get Vileplume first, then get Feraligatr, then attack with Kyurem. And in order to do that, you need at least 3 energy in your hand. So it's really tough to get this deck going quickly. Usually it takes at least 4 turns, sometimes longer than that. But I get it running okay here. Like I said, since Pichu's down, I can activate that twins, and I think I make... Oh no, good, I don't. I thought this is the match. I made a misplay. I grabbed a Twins, even though I wouldn't be able to play it. So, yep, now I can Candy into Vileplume, and stage 1 of my setup is complete. The next goal is going to be to get Feraligatr, and I do have that Professor Elm, so I'll be able to play that next turn, get Crokinole, and then evolve into Feraligatr the turn following. So by then, though, this first Kyurem's probably going to be knocked out, and I'm going to need a whole new set of energy on the second one to get him up and running. So my opponent is going to promote the middle stage of Gothitelle here, Gothorita, I think its name is. And if he's got another energy, he has an attack that automatically confuses me, which really kind of sucks because, as I just said, I don't have a lot of energy and I'll have to manually retreat if I want to get out of there. So he does have an energy, hits me with confusion, and so now I'm going to have to flip every time I want to attack. So I go ahead and play Sage's Training. Luckily, there's a Crokinole right in there, so that's perfect. It means I can save Professor Elm for later if I need him. And I also get the other half of Suicune Entei Legend, which is fantastic. That's kind of the cleaner in this game. It can come in after you've spread some damage with Kyurem and just kind of clean up. But I only play one Fire Energy, and I kind of need it right now so I can get on the offensive. So I have to attack it to Kyurem and hopefully flip aheads here, and I do. So I hit everything for 30. That's pretty nice, especially some of those basics on the bench. If he doesn't evolve them the next turn, they're going to be in danger of being knocked out. So you can see Glaciate does 30 damage to everything on your opponent's side of the field. It's similar to Tyranitar Prime's Darkness Roar, except it doesn't hit your bench, which is really great. And then my opponent flips Double Tails, so I don't take any damage this turn, and that's even better. Now I'm just going to go ahead and play the Professor Elm. I don't need it anymore. I can't get Catchered, so I'm not in danger really of being knocked out. Either of my supporters being knocked out. So I just grab the Gloom. The other Vileplume's prized, but if I happen to draw it, I can get up a backup Vileplume just in case he runs some weird tech like Bellsprout. I wouldn't expect it out of this deck. It looks like it's pretty standard structure deck, but you never know. So I go ahead and decide to set him up just in the off chance my first one somehow gets knocked out. Unfortunately, I flip a Tails here on the confusion check, so I hit myself for 30 and kind of help him out, especially since he didn't do any damage to me last turn. And this time he's going to make up for it by flipping double heads. So I'm at 120 damage now. If I flip Tails again, I'm going to knock myself out. And I'm just going to go for the attack. I don't really have any reason to hold back here. I can't just stay in and let him kill me, but unfortunately, of course, I flip Tails, and so now I have to promote something else. And if I send in my second Kyurem, it's just going to get confused automatically. So I believe what I do here is send in Totodile just as a chump blocker. I want him to knock it out so that I can get a switch into Kyurem for free, and that will let me attack without being confused. I do have the energy acceleration going now, so I can attach all three of those water energies if I want to, but I don't see any reason to here, so I'm just going to end my turn and hope that Crokinole gets taken out the next turn. I should have played down the Suicune Entei Legend. I hold on to it for a long time here, and it actually comes back to bite me later, I believe. Just a bit, not too bad, but still, there's no reason not to play it down now. I have a Kyurem on the bench, and I have an open bench spot, so it would be best to get it down now, just to have it down there, and then I can choose to go into it to clean up whenever I'm ready. So he's building up that Scolipede back there on his bench. That thing is going to cause me problems, especially its Toxic Attack. It automatically poisons me, and I take 20 damage from poison instead of 10 every turn. So that's going to be pretty annoying. It's going to really shorten the longevity of my Kyurems. And there we go. All right, I do decide to put down Suicune Entei, so that's good. I'm going to check my discard pile, make sure that I have 4 energy in there. I don't want to play Fisherman until I have 4, because otherwise it's just a wasted resource. So I have exactly 4. It's going to let me pull those into my hand. and now I can just rain dance and drop all that water energy however I want. So I guess my opponent has never seen this card before. He's going to take a while to recognize it. There we go. I'm going to attach the fire energy manually, just because it's the only one that I can't accelerate, and then I'm going to drop 3 onto Kyurem. And that's going to let me get in another Glaciate. So that's going to put his entire bench at 60. It's going to take out that Gothlet on his bench, and I think whatever that card is on the far right is going to die too. It's maybe a Nidoran. I'm not sure. So I'm going to take out both of them and also put the Sigilyph in danger of being knocked out as well the next turn. So there we go. 2 prizes taken in this turn, and the rest of his bench is heavily damaged. So he can confuse me here, and I'm expecting that's what he's going to do, but I feel like at that point I can just snipe the rest of his guys with Suicune Entei Legend, because his attack, his first attack lets you snipe the bench for 100 damage for water colorless, so I can retreat my confused Kyurem and then send him in to pick off that Scolipede. I think that's what I do here, or that is my plan, but he takes this chance to retreat his Gothorita, promotes his Scolipede, and he goes ahead and hits me with that Toxic Poison, which is a really great idea because, like I said before, it's going to severely limit the number of turns that my Kyurem is able to stay in. So it hits for 30 and also poisons, and now I kind of have a decision to make. I can't leave Kyurem in there because it's going to accumulate damage way too fast, and I can't knock out the Scolipede with a Glaciate anyhow. So I decide to retreat here. I go ahead and attach 2 water energy to Suicune Entei to get him powered up. And then I'll be able to retreat for 2 and still have enough water energies to repower Kyurem if I bring him back out. So this was a pretty good idea, I think, but I'm about to make a pretty severe misplay. I forget that the snipe attack only works on the bench. You cannot hit the active, and so I should have gone with his second attack, which does 90 or 80 with a burn. It would have been enough to take out the Scolipede, but instead I choose the other attack and am forced to take out the Gothorita instead. Definitely a big misplay on my part because I leave his biggest threat active with full energy, and now he's going to be able to attack me with any move that he wants. Fortunately, there's no way for him to kill me here, but still, it would have been a much smoother match had I just used my second attack and taken out Scolipede first, because then the worst thing that he could have done was confuse me, and I would have easily been able to retreat into Kyurem and just take out the rest of his field with a Glaciate. So now I get poisoned. I still can't retreat into Kyurem because Glaciate will not do enough damage, so I'm going to be forced to stay in here and attack once more with Suicune Entei. Luckily for me, it looks like my opponent has run out of energy. If he had been able to build up another attacker on the back of his field during this misplay, he could have taken advantage of it and possibly won the game, but luckily for me, this removes almost all of the energy he has in play, and now I only need 1 more prize, and he has a lot of stuff sitting in range of a Glaciate KO, or I can just snipe him for 100 next turn with Suicune Entei. So the match is basically over at this point. The only thing he can really do is try to stall me. I'm not sure if this is the Sigilyph that has Reflect or not, but in the end it's irrelevant as I'm going to be able to take it out no matter what. Alright, so this isn't the one. That's the one on his bench. He does go ahead and put a Psychic Energy on. He can hit me for 20, I think, plus 20 with Poison. It's not going to be enough. Suicune Entei has that massive 160 hit points. So, yeah, I just go for Torrent Fang here. Take out the bench Sigilyph with a 100 damage attack and pick up my last prize. So that's going to be the game. Like you can see, the deck worked really great here, exactly how it's supposed to work. But in my other matches, I've just had a lot of trouble getting it set up. and I've just had a lot of trouble with Kyurem not being able to attack quickly enough, and then them having evolved stuff that laughs at taking 30 damage. So I don't know. I might play around with it some more, but overall, I think Kyurem's a really overrated card right now. It's just too hard to set up quickly enough to get it to work. But anyhow, I have another deck that I've really been enjoying a lot. I have a couple of videos with it that I'll probably be posting sometime soon, so keep your eyes open for that. And if there's any more tutorial ideas you guys would like me to do, leave me a comment, let me know. I'm willing to do another tutorial if you have any questions about stuff. And as always, I'll have another Wi-Fi battle coming this weekend, the finale of my Rain Team series, so you can look forward to that as well. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment. I'll try to respond to it. And take care, guys. I'll have more coming your way shortly. Thanks.